Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back with another That Chapter. This one is titled When a Killer's Insane Murder Plot is Discovered. It intrigued me. Yeah. Alright, I'm excited for today's story. If you guys are excited as I am, please go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cup of someone special. Let's all get intrigued. Yeah.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, a car was found just off the road. This was near Nashville, Tennessee. Inside the car was two people. And they'd seen better days, let me tell you. Well, see, it would later be determined that those two people had been demanding money from a wealthy Texan. The wealthy Texan did not take too kindly to this, and so he hired ex-Special Forces lads. And well, a plot, a conspiracy, spun out from there. Before we get into it, please click that little ass subscribe button to see new videos every single week. Now, let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go. I get so excited when he says that. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
The date was March 12th, 2020. It was very early, very early in the morning. You know, the moon was still real big.
Okay.
On the outskirts of Nashville, Tennessee, a 911 call came in. This was at 495 Old Hickory Boulevard, southwest Nashville, a construction site at the time, and who knows, maybe it still is. A concerned caller had seen a car down an embankment off the side of the road at this construction site.
Oh shit.
And was concerned someone might be hurt, or even worse. He could see two people inside, and they weren't responding to him, asking if they were okay.
Metro Nashville 911, what is the address of your emergency?
Somebody drove off the road and hit a tree.
Are you with the vehicle?
There's two people there.
Okay.
They're pinned really bad. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm sending the paramedics and the police department to help you now.
Soon, emergency services, police, EMTs, they arrived to that site to check on this car and see what was the story. Inside the car were two people, but in fact it looked like the people had been stuffed inside the car. They found an adult male and an adult female inside the vehicle. Both had passed. In fact, it seemed both had passed hours before they arrived to the scene. But the scene itself was bizarre. If this was some kind of freakish act of God car accident, it was the strangest they had ever seen. I mean, the EMTs were expecting them to be in the passenger seat, the driver's seat, as you would expect, but no. An adult male was in the front of the car, but stuffed down, his face touching the floor, his feet in the air. An adult female, the very same, only in the back seat of the car. This didn't look like a crash, and from where the car would be located, why would you even crash there? Why would you be here? No, it appeared from the start that they maybe had been killed somewhere else. You know, or they died somewhere else and been stuffed inside this car. Then the car had been brought to this construction site, rolled down the embankment with such force that the airbags actually deployed. It was a staged scene. It seemed clear as day.
Damn.
The two bodies were soon identified as one Holly Williams, 33 years of age, and her estranged boyfriend, William Lanway, 36 years of age. William, he went by Bill, had in fact a history that was not that historic. Only a week before he was found dead, he had been arrested on charges of aggravated assault and false imprisonment for attacking Holly in a domestic violence incident. Holly had earlier obtained an order of protection against Bill, who had been arrested even before then, back in December, for punching her in the face. A violent man. One time Holly had even come home and found her beloved dog dead. She was sure Bill had done it. They had been, on again, off again relationship. But Bill always, it always ended with a fist punch to the noggin for Bill. But now the pair had been shot to death, it was determined. Both shot in the chest and shot in the head. As I said, Bill and Holly had been an on-again, off-again relationship.
That's crazy. Like, there was a hit put out on both of them, or did she just get caught up in it? This is going to be a weird one, folks.
For years, and even though Bill could be violent, they still somehow always ended up back together. I think that's what you call one of them abusive relationships. They both lived in Nashville and were from outside the
toxic.
city but had moved to make it. Holly worked as a beautician in the city, Bill a car mechanic. Both well-liked, fun-loving, and they'd been seeing each other for about 2 years. William had, tragically, 9 years earlier, back in 2011, lost his beloved daughter to cancer. And so a lot of his relationships and his troubles had spun out from there.
Now we understand why he's a piece of shit. Oh my god, he hates everyone and fucking everything. That's why he's like that. Holy shit. And to cancer, that's the worst.
So how did it end up murder? You know, two people who had a very difficult past, it would be described as very toxic, but then ending up shot to death inside a car in a construction site. None of this made sense, and the first theory was, well, you know, with this kind of relationship, a murder-suicide wasn't, like, out of the question. This had been building and building. Holly had put up cameras.
But how is he gonna cram himself in there the way he did and then push the car?
All over her place. She was so scared of Bill coming around and bringing his violence with him.
There's no way in the whole department knowing that you can disable my lock. If there was any way I could just schedule a disable lock, and because the door lock wasn't changed, she was able to come in and assault me.
When the police began investigating the double homicide, murder, suicide, whatever it was, they even found footage on her cameras of Bill wandering around her apartment while she was out, looking for her. So all kind of, you know, indications of what you got, what you're looking at right here, but booty. There was definitely a lot of indications that that's not what happened. That Bill hadn't finally murdered Holly and then himself. That the relationship, which was a powder keg, finally exploded. That was the likely explanation in theory. But in practice, didn't add up. The last footage on Holly's camera showed both Bill and Holly leaving the place. I guess they were in the good times when this occurred. But what was this that occurred? What happened after this video? No gun was found at the scene. No phones, no items. It looked like the car had gotten there by other means, and the cameras in Holly's place showed a lot of other men showing up to her apartment, not long before, looking for her. In fact, looking through Holly's history, it seemed like she might have been involved in some shady shit. These guys were all dressed in black, certainly up to no good, and they even had tried removing her camera. At the same time, the cameras inside showed Holly shitting herself. She was terrified of whoever these guys were. She even barricaded the door at one point. She was scared of people. But would these people kill? Digging into Holly's background, they found that, you know, her day job, beautician, doing your eyelashes or whatever. But at night, she moonlit as an escort, a high-end escort, under the name Layla Love. I'd like to begin by thanking you for your time and consideration. Your interest in me exemplifies that you enjoy the finer things in life and won't settle for anything less. It seems as if we already have some things in common. I'm much like a chameleon. I'm able to adapt to different social settings, whether it's a romantic night in, a night dancing around town, or a formal occasion. You can rest assured I will exude nothing but refinement, grace, and class. To add to my attributes, I have green, exotic, alluring eyes, full, irresistible lips, long dark locks, an hourglass figure, and a sweet, innocent smile that would melt even the coldest of hearts. As you gaze through my images, you can see that I reveal just enough to leave your imagination running wild. Well, I'll be damned. She'd been an escort since she was like 18, 19. It earned her a hell of a lot of money. And it wasn't like, her dark little secret. She was pretty open about it. And fair play to her. She earned good money. She was open about it to her friends. Even to Bill, boyfriends. She was like, yeah, get used to it. She did make a lot of money doing it. But, like anything, I guess, in that sort of industry, there can be some really shady people involved in it too. So had the chickens, come home to roost, so to speak, for Holly. Was her side hustle the reason Holly and Bill had been murdered?
Is it?
Nashville police put out images of these men in an attempt to find them. However, no one was calling to say who these lads were. Digitally, someone had been trying to get in touch with both Bill, Layla, and Holly. Holly used different phones when she was Layla as she did from regular old Holly. One number in particular had been trying to reach all three different phones. Now, what gave the police, when they were looking through this kind of stuff, a hunch that something might be up here was that the calls had been made from what's called a voice over IP phone number. That's when it's like essentially an online phone number. You can make a call via the internet. Now, it's pretty common. It's nothing really unusual or that strange
Is that like the WhatsApps and shit like that? Is that what we're talking about?
about it. A lot of businesses use it. A lot of people use it. It's no big deal. But what gave the police a hunch that this could be something here is that these voice over IP phone numbers can often also be used for shady, nefarious purposes because it's very easy to hide your identity.
I mean, technically, yeah, a lot of things is good if you use it in a shady way to be shady. You know what I mean? Don't use it in a shady way, people. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everything always works out in the end, right?
By using them. Was that what was happening right here? Well, let me tell you. The police subpoenaed for information behind that number and got an email address, jimmygreen34@gmail.com. But now who the hell is this?
I don't know.
Researching that email, it only linked to a Pinger account, where that email address signed up using the name Agent 47. Like the Hitman video game assassin guy. Suit, bald, big gun. So now we're getting somewhere, because this seems very much like, well done, Agent 47.
Hells yeah, good job, bud.
Well done, 47. They were able to get the IP address of the voice over internet phone number, which finally led to the real Jimmy Green 34. One Adam Carey. Adam Carey lived in North Carolina, a former Marine with Spec Ops training, and now, since leaving the military, he worked private security. So a real-life mercenary, a real-life guy who would know how to deal with people the old-fashioned way, by, killing them. He had previously been arrested for impersonating a cop and carrying pipe bombs and other such devices. Handguns, rifles with suppressors, flashbangs, kinda like he was back in the good old days of the military, like he was going to war. He ended up doing 4 months inside when he was arrested for impersonating a cop, and actually ended up getting in a shitload of stuff.
He only got 4 months for impersonating a cop and having pipe bombs and everything else. Isn't having pipe bombs illegal? Like, big time illegal? Is it? Am I stupid? I don't know. I just think he should have got more than 4 months.
Over the flashbangs and improvised, because it's kind of like probably not going to be up to much good with them. It also definitely seemed like Adam Carey was one of the guys that had rocked up to Holly's apartment.
Sure does.
And before I continue, please let me tell you all about this old video's sponsor, my friends, and that is Audible. I am personally a huge fan of Audible. I've been using their audiobooks and their podcasts for years. Listen to it. I'm one of those people who always needs to have something in their ears. You know what I mean? So it kind of rocks. And if you are the same, then you will be obsessed with Audible. Audible is the place for storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, bestsellers, new releases, everything you could want. Hey, listen, if they ain't got it, you don't want it. Its selection is amazing.
Fair
Look,
enough.
amazing. The podcasts, audiobooks, and its own exclusive Audible originals, they have it all. Listen, pick a genre, pick a type of audiobook. I'll wait. Yep, there you have it. How Audible works is that its members get to choose one title every month, any title, bestseller, new releases, and guess what? You get to keep it forever and ever and ever. And you can also get the latest and greatest podcasts, a huge selection of audiobooks and originals. You can download included titles as much as you like. Listen, you know me, I love my horrors, I love my thrillers, because that's kind of what this whole channel is based on.
Yeah.
And they've got some incredible ones. Lately, I've been listening to The Coldest Case by James Patterson, a thriller set in Chicago, narrated by Aaron Paul and Kirsten Ritter. It's brand new. Or if you're just looking for some incredible storytelling and writing on audiobooks, you got Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl. That story, it's probably one of the reasons I started creating content in the first place. I love me some stories. So if you want to get more storytelling, you want to learn, you want to be scared by the psychological thrillers and action-packed mysteries, you gotta check out Audible. To do that, check out my link in the description. And new members get to check out Audible for free. That is audible.com/thatchapter, or text thatchapter to 500 for your free trial. Thank you so much to Audible for sponsoring That Chapter, which is like a chapter of an audiobook. Now let's get back into it. So, friends, this is when things start kind of spidering out. And you got Holly and Bill murdered. There's a link to an Adam Carey who had been trying to contact them, and this guy's like an assassin, a mercenary. And then he spiderwebs out to other people, and this is when the conspiracy begins to show itself. Soon the police would find out that
We fucking love conspiracies on this channel, bro.
Adam Carey had been hired to observe, watch, intimidate Holly and Bill. He'd been hired by one Brian Brockway. Brian Brockway was, too, a former Marine, and also maybe he had been in some kind of special forces or something along those lines. See, officially he was only in the Marines and nothing else, but it turned out he also had done a lot of high-level government protection jobs, which I'm sure you gotta be pretty damn good to do that kind of stuff. So Brian had hired Adam, and it seems like maybe the pair of them had been going around trying to intimidate Holly and Bill, showing up to her place. Seems like they were even trying to kidnap them. You got two guys with high level, up even above the screen, folks. Military sniper training, whatever, right? What do they want? With an abusive mechanic and an escort beautician.
Death.
Soon they would be linked to another name, one Gilad Peled, an ex-Israeli Special Forces, Mossad, all that guy. So what the shit? This is going to high-level government conspiracy stuff. There's like all these like ex-Special Forces, friggin' CIA people or whatever involved in this shit. This certainly was beyond the scope of what anybody was expecting at all. From what detectives could gather was that both Brian and Adam had been in Nashville, Tennessee, watching Holly, and they were sending full reports, full military-style sit-reps back to Austin, Texas, where Gilad Peled was located. Why were they watching?
What's these people's problem with this lady? Like, what?
Intimidating and likely murdering Holly and Bill. Gilad, after leaving the military in Israel, worked private security for celebrities in Hollywood. He then moved to Austin, Texas, where he set up Spear Tip Security Group. The business kind of struggled at the start. Not many clients in Texas. I guess Texans can protect themselves.
Yeah.
But he did get one client.
We saved our absolute best for last. You hurry to Charles Vaughn Toyota and get our best savings on our best selection of barely driven Toyotas.
Like a guy who had homeless people all over his car lot, and he hired Spear Tip Security to start moving them along. That client was one Eric Mound, a well-known name, like locally in the area. You know, his family had been in the car business for generations. The guy you're looking at, yeah, that's Charles Mound. It was his son, Eric Mound. But Eric's father still did all the ads. Eric Mound was the current operator of the business, and it was he who hired Gil Peled. Now, let's start tying all this together, because frankly, you're not going to believe this shit. Eric Mound.
Private security to guard your car lot from homelessness. That's not overkill at all, let me tell you.
Very successful car dealer in Austin, rich as all heck. He had a wife, 2 kids, the whole lot, and he had one son studying at the university in Nashville, Tennessee. So in early 2020, Eric, he's like, I'm gonna go visit my boy up in Nashville, Tennessee. And so while there, you know, he's hanging out with his son and he's staying in a very fancy hotel in downtown Nashville. One time he's in his hotel room and he's like, it's bust o'clock. He starts going through the internet. He calls an escort from his lonely ass hotel room. The escort would turn out to be one Layla Love. They began texting, emailing, and they meet up. It happens, and it's over. Eric then goes back home to Texas. Not long after he gets back home, though, he starts getting texts, messages, all that sort of stuff. You know, someone was demanding money from him, 25 grand. Demanding 25 grand from Eric Mound, or else they threatened to expose, you know, the fact that he had used an escort, that he cheated on his wife in Nashville, and Eric, well-known figure in the local community, it would essentially destroy his reputation. So Eric, not a fan of that, his whole discretion becoming public. You know, he's like, damn, I'm being blackmailed, I'm being extorted over here. He goes to his new best friend, Gil Peled, who he hired as security. He's like, here, listen, being extorted here. What you know, you work in security, what would you do in this situation? Gil is a man with bright ideas. Gil then got to work and contacted friends and associates in the private security industry, Brian Brockway and Adam Carey, to start finding out who was threatening Eric. So, it didn't take long to learn about Holly Williams and the real Layla Love. But do you know what else was the interesting thing? Holly wasn't the one extorting Eric. It was Bill. Bill had logged in, hacked into her accounts, found messages between the two, and he had been one. It's believed Holly didn't even know he was doing it. In fact, the last time Bill was arrested, it was a week before himself and Holly were murdered, which would have been directly after Eric and Holly hooked up. He was arrested for domestic abuse. Maybe he attacked Holly after learning she'd been with Eric. Maybe he wanted to get revenge on Holly and Eric also. Bill even called Eric one time, demanding money. I'm pretty sure this is a movie plot. It was at that point that both Adam and Brian offered to murder both Bill and Holly for 60 grand apiece. Gil thought, well, that's a hell of an idea. Eric agreed. Then, one late night in March, Holly and Bill were seen leaving Holly's apartment. They walked straight into an ambush. They walked to the car, turned on the ignition, and then there were screams and gunshots. Weirdly, the neighbors didn't hear anything. The car was then driven by one of the hitmen to the construction site. Police used wiretaps and listening devices, and were able to get confessions out of both Brian and Adam.
Some of the problems that we ran into last time is we had to take him at the same time, dude. She wound up still breathing. And, he finished it in the back seat. And he got my respect. I totally got my respect for that. You know, a lot of guys with females. Now you'll probably.
So now that they needed to link it, officially back to Eric, and he kind
That angered me so much. Mad respect for him for being able to do it, because when it comes to females, most people get a bleeding heart. Like, I'm offended and highly pissed off. Who cares if I get a bleeding heart? I don't want to kill a lady, you know what I mean? Like, there's never going to be a time where I wake up in the morning and it's like, I'm going to kill me a broad today. Yep. Oh, I hate these people so much.
he kind of made it easy for him. He left a review. He left a review for SpearTip Security. SpearTip is very professional and on top of it. They get the job done in an expedited time. Couldn't imagine using anyone else. Brian Brockway also left a review. Adam, Brock, and Gillette were all arrested on the same day. However, they didn't know the extent of Eric's involvement. So what they did was basically said to Gillette, "You're going away for life, or maybe even death, with all the shit we have on you. We want you to call Eric and talk to him. Let's see what he knows. What does he know?"
We got a problem with one of the shooters in Nashville. He found out that you were the client that paid for this, for the job.
Mm-hmm. I'll pay the guy $25,000, but I think it needs to go away after that.
So we need to take care of him.
He did a solid for me, and I appreciate it for that. But I just want to make sure it's, in 6 months down the road, he's not going to pop back up. Honestly, I think I'd rather take care of it permanently, and then I'll just run 150 through SpearTip, like we did last time.
The police were kind of on the fence as to Eric's, level of involvement. Maybe, just maybe, they thought, maybe he just wanted Gilad to deal with the extortion attempts, but not kill anyone. Just, intimidate, make the problem go away.
No,
maybe
that
he
sounds
wasn't
like murder.
responsible or involved in the murder at all.
No, that sounds a
Well,
lot like
this
murder.
conversation put an end to that, as he was quite happy to have more people killed to end the issue. Eric was arrested immediately after that call.
Breaking news now at 5 o'clock, a murder for hire scheme. Tonight we're learning more about the 4 men accused of kidnapping and killing a Nashville woman and her boyfriend.
Eric Charles Mond, he's the son of the group's founder, and he is indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit kidnapping and kidnapping resulting in death, along with a federal firearm charge. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, the plot started back in February of last year. Federal documents show that's when Mond reached out to his former girlfriend, Holly Williams, about seeing her during an upcoming trip to Nashville. But in March, investigators say Mond heard from another man, William Lanway, claiming to be in a relationship with Williams. They say he demanded money from Mond, saying that he would expose Mond's relationship with Williams if he didn't pay up. So in response, investigators believe Mond got together with 3 men, 2 of them from Austin, Gilad Peled and Byron Brockway. The third, Adam Carey, is from North Carolina. The Justice Department release says Mond withdrew money for Carey and Brockway to travel to Nashville to collect information and watch the couple. Now, according to the DOJ, Mond told him to do whatever it took to stop the extortion and sent several hundreds of thousands of dollars to Peled.
Investigators, following a money trail, learned that on the day of the murders, Eric Mound...
This is a really horrible book. Anyone else thinks this is reading like a really horrible book? Like it is. That's awful. Jeez.
Transferred to Gilpled $150,000. After that, from March 11th till the end of the year, Eric transferred over $750 to Gilad Peled and the other guys. That's a lot of payments he was making. How many people did he have killed? None officially that we know of. Gilpled made a deal, pleaded guilty, and agreed to testify against the other 3 who were up. Eric's defense said that he had been duped into the murder plot. He was only looking for help, and instead he paid for a double murder, like accidentally. Mad stuff. Ultimately, Eric Mound was found guilty of murder for hire with death. Brian Brockway and Adam Carey were convicted of murder for hire, as well as conspiracy to commit kidnapping and kidnapping with death resulting. All 3 are awaiting sentencing, but each faces a mandatory life sentence. Gilad Peled previously pleaded guilty to the same charges, but as he cooperated with the prosecution, the judge will take this into consideration when he is sentenced later this year, 2024. And Sinead, that is the
crazy.
end of this story, and it is wild. Wilder than any movie. Like, you could not make this shit up. This is literally, the truth is stranger than fiction. And it all started out with greed. One man hacking into his girlfriend's account.
Right.
You know, to extort a John for 25 grand. You know, Eric Mound ended up paying a lot more than 25 grand in the end. I mean, financially and also, like, with his life, because he's probably never going to be a free man ever again. And Bill, trying to extort money out of some guy, got a hell of a lot more than he bargained for, with some ex-Special Forces lads showing up to his door. And poor Holly didn't even know any of this was what this was all about. So yeah, scary shit. That's the end of this one. I'm sure there's a lesson in there somewhere. You can figure it out.
That's some fuck shit, and it's all crazy as hell. That's what I'm taking from it. Oh my god, that was crazy. I really enjoyed hearing about though. Like, man, I can't believe like the dude was that shitty where he basically broke into her computer. He got them killed out of greed. And Mike was right. Like, the dude should just pay the $25,000. Been done with it. Oh, my Lord. All right. I really enjoyed today's video. If y'all enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please go down there, leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. While you're down there, if you want, go on over, slap that subscribe button. Become part of the Bill 5000 Nation. We do some crazy shit here. If you want to know when that crazy shit happens, ding that bell. It might work for you. It might not. But if it do, jump in on one of my premieres, go over in live chat, let me know. Just be like, hey, Bill, I got dinged. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Man, like, what the fuck? Like, it's all over greed. Every last bit of it is just greed, and it's so stupid.